is what you're going to need to create your sand paint. You're going to need some plaster of Paris, some warm water, your paint of choice. You can use the acrylic, latex, or chalk paint, some sand, and just something to mix and measure with. You're going to use 1/4 of a cup of plaster of Paris, 2 tablespoons of warm water. Make sure your water is warm because it will mix in with the plaster of Paris much better. And you're going to stir it really well and make sure it's all mixed together so it's nice and smooth. Now, if you're working on a bigger project, you can always double or triple this recipe. It's just something that if you are mixing it up, you want to make sure you use it right away because it does not store very well and it will harden up. So that's the texture that you're looking for. And I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of the acrylic paint. And like I said before, you can use acrylic paint, you can use latex paint. I would make sure that you use an eggshell or a satin in the latex, or you can use your chalk paint. And you can pick any color that you want for this project. I picked this color because I wanted to have kind of a terracotta finish when I put it on my vase. And mix that paint really well into that plaster in Paris and water mixture. And the last step is to add the sand. Now we have some sand in our yard, so that's what I'm using. And your texture of your paint will be determined by the sand that you're using. So if you're using a really fine sand, you'll have a fine texture. If you're using a really coarse sand, then you'll have more of a coarse paint when you're finished. And I'm going to put in 4 tablespoons into this mixture. I'm going to give it a little stir after the first 2 before I add the next 2 tablespoons. And if you're using your own sand, you want to make sure that you dry it out completely before you use it. You don't want any more moisture going into this recipe than what it's called for. And this is the consistency that it should be. It's almost like a wet cement consistency. I will have the recipe at the end of the video where you can take a screenshot of it at the very end, or you can go down in the link in the description and I'll have the recipe down there too. And there's your finished sand paint, all ready to be put on a project. I'm going to be painting this vase I found at a thrift store. It looks like somebody may have tried to spray paint it a little bit, so I've just washed it really well, got off any film or anything that might have been on it, and then I'm going to paint the sand paint directly onto the vase. And I'm hoping to get a nice terracotta feel to this project. You do not need to prime when using this paint recipe. It adheres to just about any surface, so you can paint directly right on your project without any prep. And this is what it looks like. It's nice and gritty and has lots of texture. And there's not really any sort of technique when painting with this. You just slap it on. You can kind of chunk it on and up and down, and it doesn't matter if you have lumps here and there, because when it's all finished, that's the look that we're trying to achieve. I have the first coat all finished, and you want to make sure you let it completely dry before you put your second coat on. And you can see it kind of changes color as it dries, so you'll know when it's completely dry. Okay, my vase is completely dry and we're going to put on a second coat. And the same thing, you're not any sort of technique, just spread it on and let the chunks end up where they end up and brush it on and cover all the areas of the whole vase. Okay, the second coat is on and it's all finished. So now I have to just be patient and let it dry completely. It's all finished and I love the way it dried and the way it looks. It looks like an old terracotta planter, and I have a feeling I'm going to be painting every glass jar I have in my home. I decided to paint some other bottles that I had too in some different colors, and they turned out fabulous also. So gather up all those projects that need to be updated and give this sand paint a try. And here's the recipe for the sand paint. Take a screenshot and save it to your phone and you'll have it to reference back to. And it'll also be linked down in the description. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I love to read them. I'll be sharing so many more DIY, thrifting, repurposing videos, so if you aren't already following along, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and that will let you know when I upload my next video. See you real soon. Take care and have a great day.